This is PJ Denuzzo, and I would like to thank you for tuning in today to a Denuzzo Wealth Management Market Insight titled, We're Going to Make It. When looking at the current situation, the common sense approach now from taking a look at it is, of course, that the economy cannot handle an extensive shutdown. So there's going to have to be a reopening of the economy sooner rather than later. And of course, this is a very large and very complex country. The coronavirus is on a scale of 1 to 10. You can even say at this level, it's a 10 in some areas where they're on full lockdown and they have a massive challenge on their hands. Other areas are an 8 or 9. Some other areas might be a 1 or a 2. So it's going to be different in different parts of the country. But again, with our economy as large as it is, it cannot stay in an extensive shutdown for any period of time. Again, we've been talking, if there's been one common thread to all of this, is the media and their hyperbole and just the bad information, the misinformation and disinformation it's staggering. But again, our economy can't be closed for a year and a half or a year or 9 months, whatever the case may be. I think you're going to see a rolling reopening of the economy in the areas that are better and have the coronavirus managed through. Again, the world's working virtually, but this is just a very short-term solution for a number of reasons. The unintended consequences of shutting down the largest economy on the planet Earth are beginning to become obvious to a number of people. And that is, I think, what the workout plan is going to follow, is going to be the MO for the workout plan coming out of this. Of course, as we know, if this were going to continue for any reasonable point of time, it's definitely financial suicide for the average human being. I grew up in the restaurant business, and to think about somebody saying you have to close your restaurant, you may have easily thousands of dollars, but you may have $10,000 of perishable items in your refrigerator and in other areas within the restaurant. To be able to just lose that inventory, that $10,000 of inventory may have generated for you $25,000 or $30,000 worth of revenue. This is just something that just small business people cannot withstand. The average small business person is making a living. The average person you see working in a restaurant or a bagel shop or coffee shop, if they're the owner, they're pretty much, I was happy when we were in the restaurant business to make a living. Just a modest living is all you can sort of ask for. You're just working for a living. There's not big profit margins in the restaurant business. I think the national averages are 3%, something along those lines. So it is good news that we're going to have to reopen the economy sooner rather than later, because that's the only thing that's going to get us out of this is a resumption of normal day-to-day activity. Again, there are areas of the country that are going to be locked down longer than other areas. Some areas may need to be tamped down once they do reopen to an extent. Again, this is all past my pay grade. I'm just giving you my observations that I know that it is a uncontrollable factor that you just cannot suppress the world's largest economy and all of those consequences and material unintended consequences for the individuals who it's worse off for them. And again, with the cure being worse than the ailment, again, this will need to be managed. It's going to need, the key word that keeps on coming back to us in conversations, it's going to need to be a balance between managing the coronavirus and to getting the world's largest economy back on track. There's just not enough money on earth to be able to support our economy and our entire system from our government. The workers need direct compensation for what they're doing. The government doesn't have a checkbook that large, and we're finding this out as long as we're shut down. Again, there's just not enough money for the government to be able to support this. So again, we're going to need a balanced approach, a balance between fighting the coronavirus and getting our economy back up and running. And also from just a confidence perspective, it's going to be a lot better for people to get the economy back up and running in areas where they can. Again, we've talked about the media, and just in any context, anything with a running death count is not objective when you compare this to anything else on the planet Earth. And anybody can go online and Google daily death counts, and there's a myriad of other illnesses and diseases that cause materially more daily deaths than the coronavirus ever would. So if you were to see any of these in your face on a daily basis, you would start to become massively concerned about heart disease, automobile accidents, whatever the other case may be. So again, I think it's wholly irresponsible of our media to show continued running daily death counts regarding the coronavirus. That is absolutely not helping anyone on earth other than self-serving them, excuse me, to be more dramatic and to get more eyeballs to their media source. So again, the government stimulus, the hope here is that it is targeted. It appears as though it is going to be targeted. I just heard an interview for one of the major hotel chains, hotel operators in the country, and he was explaining with the massive amount of layoffs that they had to have because they're in certain areas where the government told them you have to close your hotel, and they would be able to provide that information to the government to get that check and get that stimulus to those laid off team members pretty much immediately, if not sooner. So again, being targeted is going to help us to get out of this. Again, the media hyperbole, this is not 1918. It's not anything close to 1918. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. We are going to get this. We're going to get through this together. The American pride, ingenuity, creativity, work ethic. We have a very unique DNA in this country, the way that we do things. Having an open and free society, we've got freedoms unknown to nations, especially anything approaching nations our side, for the individual liberties and freedoms we have. And that being, in my mind, the solution, ultimate solution to the human condition. We have so much to be thankful for, but also so much good that we're able to do because of the individual liberties and freedoms that we have. Again, you cannot just kill the largest economy on earth. You need to find a balance. And even countries such as, I believe it was the Prime Minister from the Netherlands was discussing, let's be more strategic here. Let's have a better tactical plan of quarantining individuals who are higher risk and allowing parts of the economy to come back online. A complete shutdown is just not working for anyone. Again, I've been in constant communication with clients. I get a lot of feedback from the videos that go out, and I should probably have a little disclaimer at the beginning of any video I send out. I'm an optimist. We're optimists at Denuso Wealth Management. The glass is always half full for us. We feel that's the only way to go through life. So again, I'm giving you my business perspective, but it is biased that I am an optimist. I'm not trying to put a positive spin on anything, but when I look at anything, I see the positive aspects or elements from whatever I'm looking at. And again, I think that the American know-how, creativity, just the sheer drive that we have in our country. And again, you're talking about these small entrepreneurs. They're just really special people, the millions of them in the United States, and they have to have a fighting chance to be able to survive and get back on and get back on scale and get back up and running. So for that reason alone, again, the government doesn't have a checkbook that large. We have to earn our way back out of this. These entrepreneurs are going to have to be able to go back to work sooner rather than later. Again, the government needs to be strategic about it. You can't have the same policy for states in the Northeast as the Southwest. That's going to be different. You know, this was phrased pretty well by a gentleman I was listening to, and he was talking about this. He phrased as basically World War III, but World War III for 90 days. As I'm taping this right now, we're about 20 couple days, arguably 20 couple days into this 90-day war, if you would, on fighting the coronavirus and simultaneously getting our economy back on track. This war on the coronavirus will pass. As I said in a number of videos, this too shall pass. Looking at a short window as I'm taping this, again, China has come out of this. Taiwan has come out of it. Japan has come out of it. Singapore has come out of it. It's too early to quote, but the last just couple of days of data appear to be much more encouraging for Italy, as well as a number of the other countries. Again, we're all taking in a lot more information on how to deal with this and how to approach it from a governmental perspective and from an individual perspective. So again, this too shall pass. And I believe myself it's going to pass sooner rather than later. We've got wonderful safety nets here. The government stimulus is going to come through, the unemployment compensation. Again, we've got, I believe, twice of the intensive care beds per capita than the country of Italy does. There's a lot of built-in positives that aren't being mentioned on a regular basis. Again, I mentioned a couple of other videos. The Federal Reserve, the liquidity and stimulus that they're bringing to the table is a huge part. That's one of the three legs on this stool that are going to allow us to come back and grow back out of here. Again, we've got to be careful for the unintended consequences. The Federal Reserve has helped an awful lot with that. And that's just another reason that the longer this is stretched out, the more the economy is mitigated and has a wet blanket placed on it, the tougher it's going to be. Again, never underestimate the incredible resilience and creativity of Americans. We get the economy open back up again. But again, there are challenges. We're not saying that it's a pristine situation, but from the data I was looking at in Italy, there were no deaths under age 30. I think it was maybe around less than 1% under age 40. And again, there are trade-offs to be made. And I'm not making light of any of this, but just take a look at the pain and suffering that's going on from individuals being displaced out of the economy and the pain and suffering they're going through. And again, this is past my pay grade. I'm just giving you our economic observation that, in our opinion, there is going to need to be a balance. And that balance, everything in life requires trade-offs. That's up to the government, but the balance between fighting the coronavirus and not starving people, so to speak, by not allowing them to go to work and totally shutting down the largest economy on earth. So again, we've got, I believe, around 170 million citizens in the United States who are under age 40. We've got the quick testing, I believe, coming right around the corner. If you're able to test individuals, if they've already been exposed to COVID-19 are required. In a lot of cases, it's not noticeable or it's very mild. There's ways to weaving people back into the workforce. But again, 170 million citizens in the U.S. who are under age 40, to me, again, I'm a very positive person. I'm an optimist. To me, that's great news. Again, with what's going on with the coronavirus compared to 150,000 people who died from the swine flu, the H1N1 in 2009. We have gone through these episodes before. And again, I think it's helpful to look in an appreciation perspective to go and take a look at what we've been through before, we've made it through before without as heinous of remedies as we're potentially going through right now. Again, stop the daily death counts. If we saw this information, as I said, on the flu, automobile accidents, or heart disease deaths every day, it's not good for anybody's psyche with what the media is doing. So again, I'm seeing positive, flowers growing in the garden across the entire garden in the country. We do have a national challenge on our hands. We as citizens and myself as a Christian, I care about individuals from California and New York and the state of Washington as much as I do here in Pittsburgh. I mean, we're all in this together. We're all U.S. citizens, but we do have a very positive outlook that every day that we're moving forward is another day closer to coming out of this tunnel. I think looking at that 90-day World War III, WW3, so to speak, being 90 days, we're approaching almost the end of the first 1/3 of that 90-day mission critical period. So every day we're getting closer to light at the end of the tunnel. So again, we at DeNuzo Wealth Management are very optimistic regarding our short, intermediate term, and of course, long-term view of the economy. So thank you for hanging in there with us. We're all in this together. I appreciate you tuning in today and listening to this version of DeNuzo Wealth Management's Market Insight, and I look forward to talking with you again. Thank you very much.